Good morning, all, and thank you for joining us today for the virtual open house for the College Teaching and Learning Science Certificate Program at UMBC. My name is Jeremy from the Office of Professional Programs. Before we get started, I want to go over a couple of quick housekeeping items. Firstly, in order to provide the best experience for you and other attendees, please do keep yourself muted throughout our presentation today. If you have questions, we are happy to answer them. Please address them through the WebEx chat feature. We have outlined a Q&A period at the end of our presentation to address questions. And this session is being recorded for quality assurance. With that said, I hope you enjoy the presentation, and I'm turning you over to your Graduate Program Director, Eileen O'Brien.
Well, welcome to our presentation on the certificate program, a new program at UMBC that focuses in on college teaching and learning science. This particular program is geared towards individuals who may already have a master's or in the progress of getting a master's, and it would add on a certificate level for teaching in higher education. UMBC decided to venture into this certificate offering because it became apparent to, I think, everyone across the nation that college students of today are very different from the past 20 years ago. And our environments are very different. Our learning environments are different. And the way we learn has shifted and needs have changed. So I'm hoping that this inaugural program, which we will be accepting our first class for the fall 20 semester, will enlighten individuals who are desiring to teach in higher education with regard to the needs of our students and the needs of the workforce, and in preparing students to be good employees. So UMBC faculty are part of this program, and you will find that there are people teaching courses that are course designers already. They've got significant number of years teaching in higher education, whether in community college or in four-year colleges or research universities. And they also are instructional designers. Quite a few of the faculty who are teaching the courses are working in technology and learning. Jobs in college teaching are becoming more prevalent as research universities take on their research projects and funding. Oftentimes, these researchers will relinquish their teaching role for that period of time to do the research for which they were funded. And in that case, universities are always looking for individuals to come in and be adjuncts, part-time teachers. In addition, community colleges are building larger campuses and requiring more manpower to meet the needs of our communities with regard to education and adult learning. I also am going to go through the program overview and what courses you will be taking in this particular certificate program. Our program is completely online, which I think is a benefit to individuals who are working during the day. They can do their online work during the evening or on weekends. It's 15 credits, so ideally one would start in either spring or fall and finish within a year and a half. This program is offered through the Department of Psychology. And the reason that we are doing that is that our learning science really is foundational to psychological theory, learning theory, and understanding of cognitive psychology. It really looks at how best people learn, what kinds of strategies, what kinds of environments create a rich learning environment. Today in college, we are accepting and experiencing a number of individuals who perhaps 10, 20 years ago would not have ventured into higher education. Part of that has been our enlightenment with regard to what people need to be successful and what universities can do to foster success in students. But we're dealing with a number of students who have particular challenges, whether it's a learning disability or an emotional component to learning. We need to be able to address those in the classroom and in higher education. So the program, in this sense, in psychology, really tries to use a lot of the cutting edge research about individuals and their learning styles and the best opportunity for them to be successful. UMBC, our reputation in college teaching is phenomenal. We are ranked by US News and World Report as the number 12 top university for undergraduate teaching in the nation. And for that type of credential, it's incredible for what they used to refer to as Little UMBC. UMBC is the only school in Maryland in the top 20 nationally for undergraduate teaching and innovation. Course redesign started on this campus prior to 2007. So we've got 10 plus years of doing course redesign, course innovation, and innovative pedagogical strategies to reach our students. And we have the data that shows that these interventions are successful. UMBC provides a comprehensive quality education at a manageable cost. I think if you take a look across universities, you'll find that you could probably pay less for a program, but the quality of that program is perhaps not the highest it could be. We were very careful to design this program to include some of the very highest level of credentialing. And we'll talk about that as we go through the courses because you have an opportunity to be recognized for being certified in some programs in addition to this certification in college teaching. UMBC is ranked number 3 in the nation for achieving social and economic impact. And this is out of the Times Higher Education rankings. The diversity on our campus, the quality of the education, the areas that we reach with our students, the disenfranchised populations that heretofore did not attend college, you have an opportunity here at UMBC. So you're coming into a certificate program and you're thinking, where are the jobs in college teaching? Why would I want to do this? As I mentioned in the introduction, community colleges have expanded and grown. Every county in at least the state of Maryland has a community college, as well as some cities. Baltimore City has its own community college. And across the nation, you'll see the power of community college reaching into the community, pulling in students from high schools as well as adult students who may want to retool or just continue with learning as a lifelong process. And they need instructors and faculty at the master's level who are prepared to address learning needs. Four-year colleges are looking for faculty. And four-year colleges typically are your liberal arts college that do not have PhD programs, but rather focus in on a very rich undergraduate experience. They may have some master's programs, but their focus is predominantly in the undergraduate education. Research universities, and there are varying levels of these. These universities typically have faculty who have grants, who have applied for funding to study particular phenomena. And when they get their funding, they often need to relinquish a few teaching courses. So they may need an adjunct or an individual to come in to teach one course. And it's helpful if that individual has some background in teaching, but it's not always the case when you look at the applicant pools. So the jobs in college teaching are vast, and the areas that one can enter into are many. If you're an expert in your practice, whether it's industry, business, education, health and safety, human resources, you have many years of on-the-ground practice, and you've entertained the community, you have worked through problems with perhaps customer service. These are skills out of the workforce that certainly could be applied to the higher education classroom. So you probably should be interested if you want to transition to teaching in higher ed, or just to have a course that you teach now and then, to bring your skills from that practice to the university setting so that you can impact the new workforce by delivering your skills and sharing your knowledge. If you're retooling after military service, several of our students who come into the university have done their service to one of the military agencies, and they're ready to come back and look at higher education for themselves, to say that I enjoyed maybe technical assistance and training in the military. How do I translate that into higher education? If you're transitioning from another career, many people in their 30s, 40s, even in their 50s begin to transition from another career. We actually have students in their 60s taking classes who would like to expend some time and energy into learning a new field, or taking what they had from an old field and applying it to a new one. If you're currently in graduate study, this is a real targeted population for us, because oftentimes in master's and PhD programs, the curriculum is so jam-packed with all of the content and expertise one needs to be an expert in their field. But there really isn't any opportunity for education courses. If you're hired after graduate school into a teaching position, you might be able to say you've been a teaching assistant, but you haven't had the foundational skills, the knowledge and abilities to now engage students in the classroom. Teaching in higher education is a different ballgame. You can be very expert in what you have studied in your graduate program. But if you have not taught students in higher education, it becomes a challenge. I've had so many adjunct faculty tell me they thought they could just enter the classroom in higher ed and begin to share all of their skills and take students to a higher level of functioning. And the first thing that hit them was, oh my gosh, the population I'm teaching looks different than I was accustomed to. The environment is different. The tools we use for teaching are very different. A lot of technology today that 20 years ago, we probably weren't even thinking could be utilized. If you're teaching at the primary or secondary level, a lot of folks have many years teaching in elementary school or in high school or middle school, and they decide that they would like to maybe teach in a community college or four-year college as an adjunct, or transition to maybe a full-time position at some point. It's different from teaching high school, and it's different from teaching middle school. Just developmentally, the approach and the kinds of needs that our students in college have are very different. Our college learners are diverse, they vary in age, and they vary by experience. So coming in from high school, teaching in college, it should not be the same. It's a different population, and it's a very different environment. If you're looking for post-retirement teaching, this is excellent. We love when people have gone into retirement after fulfilling a very rich career and may come to share with people who are just coming to college. And you think, I can probably deal with teaching one course a semester or maybe two courses. Retirement offers you that flexibility to, enjoy things that full-time employment prohibited. So having this certificate could allow you to continue without learning yourself, as well as keeping you, I always say keeps you young, because the students teach me something every day about what's going on in the environment. Clearly, programs are asking for adjunct faculty, which typically means one course or two courses a semester, part-time faculty, which could be three courses a semester, or full-time, which varies by university as to how many courses or credit units you need to cover. But in your application, taking this certificate program and completing it would distinguish you from other candidates who are applying for jobs. It clearly says that you have the experience, plus now you have the preparation to enter that classroom, to engage with students, to use the innovative techniques, and to use technology in learning. When we developed this program, we were very, very careful to use focus groups. Focus groups included faculty who are teaching in universities and community colleges. We looked at grad students from a variety of disciplines. We also invited in individuals from the Centers for Teaching and Learning and Faculty Development, as well as college admission individuals and administrators from community colleges, four-year colleges, and research colleges. And we asked them, what do you see as important for new adjuncts to know, to be able to do in order to be hired in your agency? And across all of these focus groups, we got some very rich information that really did inform the content in the program. We also did a literature review. There's much written in the journals of higher education, community college education, adult learning, that was very important for us to include. One of the key components of this program at UMBC is that you will complete Quality Matters. You will get a certificate of completion. This program is a foundational program in writing learning objectives, in connecting those learning outcomes to assignments in the course. It helps you establish a quality program, whether it's online, a hybrid, or face-to-face. You are learning how to write objectives, how to keep students aware of what they need to do, how they need to write a paper, or how they need to do an assignment. It gives both the faculty and the student very clear guidelines as to what is expected in learning in a particular course. I can't emphasize enough that this QM training is highly valued across the nation. It comes out of the state of Maryland, but is a nationally recognized program. And I think we are probably the only program right now, including QM certification in its program. You also will learn about learning science, which is a multidisciplinary field of which psychology, sociology, education, early childhood development, brain science, all are combined to look at empirical ways, best practices, foundational information that is successful in reaching individuals. You know, we could go back to the Socratic method, but people don't learn as well that way. It's inefficient and ineffective. You're also going to acquire some contemporary technological skills. We have one course that is going to be taught by an instructional designer. You'll learn about learning management platforms, and there are so many. I think technology is one of the things that scares people about coming into the higher ed classroom. But one learns very quickly that there are some differences, but there's probably more commonalities among learning management platforms and how that can serve you as a faculty member and as a student to help in learning and in preparing a course. You also learn about best practices um, in the use of technology, not just for the use of technology itself, but a meaningful use of technology. You're also going to learn how to assess learning at several levels. When you take a course, you want a student to perform well on an exam, but as a faculty person, you need to look at that exam, you need to look at the course evaluation, you need to look at how it fits into the curriculum and how it meets the needs of the assessment at the university level. So there is this particular course on what we call test and measurement that is going to facilitate your learning. Understanding course development, that you just can't take one course and build it over a weekend, that it takes significant amount of planning and design structure, that you just don't move from a face-to-face syllabus to just putting that online, that there's actually a different science, a different approach to hybrid and online learning. You're going to learn how to use innovative strategies in the classroom, whether it's face-to-face or online. Some of these innovative strategies are looking to engage student learners. One of our major challenges today is to engage people in learning and to look at the best ways to do that. What has been successful? What new approaches using gaming in education? And I know they use this in secondary education, but in higher ed, there's some similarities, but there are some differences in that. We also help in addressing the diverse college population. This is a key component to UMBC itself, is that we address and embrace diversity. So you will see and hear and experience interaction with individuals who require different approaches, who require a understanding of diversity, and not just from the ethnicity, racial, gender aspect of things, but age-wise, the diverse needs of individuals, and to carefully assess how one meets the needs of all those diverse learners so that everyone has a fair shot at being successful in the classroom. And at the end of this program, you will have in front of you a teaching portfolio that you have developed that you can take on job interviews, that when you are coming in for a potential position, you can demonstrate not only a very solid resume, but the kinds of things you have learned and done within this certificate program, to include a teaching practicum. So that portfolio is something today that is expected of individuals when they come in for a potential position. There are 5 courses and it's 15 credits. As I said, it could be about a year and a half for completion. Psych 501 is the first course, and we really do like to see people take that first because that is the foundation on learning science. 502 is the best practices in college teaching, which includes more of the technology. So between the two of these courses, it's a nice blend. You'll learn course objective writing. You'll learn student learning outcomes assessment. You'll learn course design, course delivery, how to build content in a course, because once you look at a textbook for a particular course, you're thinking, I can't do this in the 45 hours I have face-to-face with a student or online with a student. So how do you parse out that content? You'll learn a little bit about infrastructure in institutions of higher learning, the connection to the community and how this is a collaboration. You'll learn about learning management systems, which is very important, regardless online or face-to-face. A little bit about faculty and that faculty role, what's expected of faculty today, the knowledge base one needs, and a little bit about the readiness of the student and the variance we see with students coming into college. It could be an individual who was from a very enriched high school. It could be an individual from an impoverished public program, or it could be an adult who hasn't opened a textbook in 10 or 20 years, and they're all in the same classroom. So these 2 courses will help you be able to integrate all of those needs into a very successful approach for learning. The 5 courses, as I said, 15 credits, also includes 503, which is assessment, test and measurement, assessing college level learning. And there are varying levels of learning that you will become accustomed to. I think the crowning capstone is your college teaching practicum and a seminar that is provided for you. And this is where you will deliver or actually put together your teaching portfolio and do a video presentation of your best teaching practice. 15 weeks are what our semesters are at UMBC, and it's totally online. 501 is offered in spring and fall. This again is the foundational content, so we like to see you take this first. It can be taken with 502 or 503. 502 will be offered in the fall and the summer. It provides your best practices and technological approaches to learning. and really highlight student engagement strategies. How do you get them to work in groups when they really want their individual A? How is it you get people to collaborate or cooperate in learning? 503, again, is your test and measurement. It's going to be assessment and evaluation of learning. What you will learn, that is, assessment and evaluation are two different processes. It will also help you learn about mapping the curriculum. So often people come in to teach one course and they don't know how it fits into the overall scheme of things. So in 503, we tried to develop this mapping the curriculum process so that when you are hired, you can go to a particular community college or university, you can help in looking at how that particular course fits into the overall curriculum for a student. The 504A and 504B are taken together. It's offered in spring and fall. The prerequisites on this are the 501, 502, and 503 because we want you to use all of those foundational skills that you have learned now into an applied area. 504A is 3 credits. That would mean 135 clock hours over those 15 weeks in a higher education classroom. You can find the classroom yourself, or we can assist you to find the classroom. It always is better if it's a community that you know or a school that you know, as entering into oftentimes public schools is very difficult. But if you do have your own connection or you do have an association, that helps. Otherwise, we will try to find something for you. 504B is a seminar and supervision, and this would be a weekly online professional development discussion, kind of processing what you're seeing in the clinical practice, making sense out of it, connecting it to what you have learned. And you really are the student in here to be able to go back and look at how you intervened in the classroom practicum, and then sitting back and analyzing, oh, I guess I could have done that better. It really helps you become a self-reflective teacher, which is vitally important today. This is also where your teaching portfolio will complete. Our admission requirements, now this is important, I know. Master's degree in any discipline, doesn't matter what, or you're currently enrolled in a graduate program. That could be a master's program. You're getting a MA or MS or an MPS, or getting a PhD. Your GPA of 3.0 or higher. You don't need GRE scores at all. We would like to see a focus goal statement. Articulate how this certificate's going to enhance your professional goals at this given point in your life. Include relevant prior life and or work experiences or your academic preparation. It could be that you have been away from education for 20 years. Perhaps you were teaching for a while. And as I said, the population and the environment has changed significantly, and the expectation of faculty have also changed. Make sure you include some positive ratings and recommendations about the potential that you have. Recommendations from individuals you've worked with, taught for, or who has mentored you, maybe in the workplace. And we want your resume with some level of work experience or internships you've done, or what your grad assistant experience is like. And this could vary. For graduate assistants, sometimes it's been basically just doing administrative tasks. But if you've taught in the classroom, that would be an added advantage. If you have done tutoring, that is an added advantage. Our tuition, financial aid, and billing for 2020, it's $675 per credit for Maryland residents or a qualifying regional resident. And this includes a special online technology fee. For non-Maryland residents, it's $11.48 per credit. This also includes the online tech fee. Here are the links for financial aid and scholarships and the student business services, which if you want to write down, you can, or I'm sure there'll be ways to look at this on our website as well. The College Teaching and Learning Science also has a website. Off of the UMBC website, you would go to the Department of Professional Services and look for programs, certificates, and you will see college teaching and learning science. Also on that website will be your financial aid information and the same scholarship office link. If you are teaching in a community college now and you would like to come back and get a certificate, there is a special scholarship opportunity for you. There are $1,000 scholarships for faculty who are already teaching in a community college. They have to be admitted to our program. You have to enroll in 6 credits, so you'd be taking 2 courses. It's a one-time scholarship, and it can't be combined with other scholarships, but it really is a nice opportunity for someone teaching in community college in Maryland who would like to secure this certificate. And I would encourage you to look at your workplace tuition assistance. Are there any questions for me? If not, then you can go to the Division of Professional Studies website and secure this information most readily. And email me. My email is there, as well as the coordinator, Renee Eisenhuth, who is listed under the second. And there is an application waiver. You can apply now for the certificate and use the special populations code that is listed here on the screen, and that would waive the $50 application fee. So I think that's it. Thank you so much.